Do you hear that funny noise? It's the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. The podcast that hopes Democrats don't Obama-size Medicare. Looking a little green around the gills, Medicare expert Doug Jones.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another thrill-packed episode of the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. Medicare is such a thrilling subject, and I'm thrilled to be here to bring it to you. My name is Doug Jones, but you probably already knew that. My Canadian nephew, Drew McMillan, theoretically told you who I am. I am here to help you understand Medicare and to feel confident that Medicare will be the right way for you when your time comes, when your maturity brings you to age 65, or even long after age 65 when you decide to leave your place of employment that has provided health insurance for you and strike out on your own. Medicare will be the solution for any qualms that you might have about getting good quality health insurance. There aren't that many decisions to be made when you enter Medicare, but each one is critically important, and I'm here to help you understand those decisions. Now, how can I convey that understanding to you? Well, I would encourage you to go to Amazon.com and purchase my latest book, Medicare for the Lazy Man 2026. If you type that into the search window, you'll see a picture of a book cover with a cartoon of a lazy guy sleeping in an easy chair. Within the covers of that book, you're going to find light but instructive Medicare knowledge that will help you understand and progress through the Medicare maze without making any horrible mistakes that would haunt you for the rest of your life. That's the goal here. You might find a couple of yucks along the way as well, but the book will be oh boy, what do I want to say here? It's a tutorial about Medicare that doesn't include all the boring and stupid stuff. Medicare has a lot of boring and stupid stuff. Most people don't want to hear anything about it. They might want to know, just because of intellectual curiosity, they might want to know a little bit about what Medicare was designed to do and how Medicare can be beneficially applied to their own situations. And all of that is there, but none of the egghead kind of stuff that would tend to be ponderous to read about. So I think most people who have read my book have had big thumbs up. They have always told me that it was very helpful in understanding Medicare, and therefore I present it to you as a tool that you will enjoy using and that you will find highly instructive. So what would it cost? Well, the paperback version of Medicare for the Lazy Man 2026 would cost about $11. The Kindle version would cost about $5 if you've got a reader that Amazon.com supports. If you want to listen to the book, you can do that for the price of about, $6 and change, I think it is. And, of course, we have the magnificently crafted hardcover version. It's a $25 item, but once again, I suggest that people purchase the hardcover book. I don't make any extra money on it, but it's such a beautiful item. I want to see it go to good homes. So you can either retain that book when you finish your Medicare enrollment, or you can donate it to a charity or perhaps a local library and then take a big fat write-off, a charitable donation. You can pretty much defray your Medicare cost, your learning experience expense by telling Uncle Sam that you made a donation of something that was fantastically valuable to a local charitable organization. So what else might we have in the way of Medicare instruction? I have two other books available at Amazon.com. One of those is to help you pick out your own best drug plan. Now, that's a job that should be done when you first become eligible for Medicare, and then it should be done again at the end of every year. In the fall, you should select a plan, use the same process to make sure the plan you have is still appropriate for you and will be appropriate in the following year, because these plans can change, and they do change. They can become very unpleasant. I had a phone call this morning. A client of mine who's a doctor up in Washington State, he said, how is it that my drug plan was so wonderful last year and it sucks this year? And I had to remind him that I sent everybody on my client list an email in October reminding them that it was time to check on their existing drug plan, read the mail from the plan, and see what was going to change the following year, because his plan changed from being very benign to very expensive, and he's disturbed by that. And I said, well, you've got two choices. Stay the course for the rest of the year. In the fall, let's run the comparison again using my book, Medicare Drug Plans, a simple DIY guide. That is the name of the book. And then that'll tell you whether or not the plan you have can be changed out for something better for the following year. The other option you have is to stop paying your drug plan premium, let the drug plan cancel itself, and then return to the drug plan marketplace in the fall. AEP, or open enrollment, allows you the opportunity to select a new drug plan or the same one, whatever you want, for the following year. The problem is that when you do that, the federal government will come after you with a lifetime late enrollment penalty. And this doctor wisely said, yeah, I think I'll just stick with what I have and take it as an expensive lesson. And I think the reading between the lines, the expensive lesson was not listening carefully to my words of wisdom. But, I'm not going to hold his feet to the fire to make him say that. In any event, your drug plan can be a source of irritation, or it can be a source of solace as it pays for your drugs. I want to make it closer to the solace part and farther away from the irritation part. And that's why I wrote Medicare Drug Plans, a simple DIY guide, that's on sale at Amazon. And finally, the book that is the most recent, that is the shortest and yet the most powerful, because it has the most knowledge packed into its very, very short duration. And that book is Medicare Enrollment Guide. That book is also on sale at Amazon. I think it's $5 for a paperback and $3 for a Kindle version. But here's what I suggest you do. Go to MedicareForTheLazyMan.com. That's the magnificent website Randy created for me. And look, just scroll down just a little ways, and there's a link to that book. Click on that link, and it will be yours for free. You don't have to leave your email address. You don't have to do anything. Just click on that link, and you will be able to download and read Medicare Enrollment Guide without any cost at all. And that's going to help answer a lot of questions about the actual enrollment process. Medicare Parts A and B, Medicare Supplement, and your drug plan. Those are the items that are covered very thoroughly in Medicare Enrollment Guide. Speaking of thorough, I've got Randy Carson sitting across the screen from me. He's devised a new modus operandi for, it's a two-man job. It's like airline pilots double checking all the systems to make sure there's nothing wrong with the airplane, because we missed a recording session. I thought I was brilliant. I probably performed as well as I ever have in the whole history of this podcast a few weeks ago. And Randy, with a great deal of chagrin, had to break the news to me that the episode that we were doing hadn't been recorded. And so now we actually sign on early, and we go through a lengthy checklist to make sure that nothing goes awry. And Randy's just thorough that way. That's why you're the technician and I'm the goofus. Isn't that correct, Randy?
I am the technician. I'm not going to call you the goofus, but that's okay.
Well,
I was going to tell you, you may not know. Well, I think I mentioned to you before we started recording that I had a lot of birthday doings this last weekend because
you mentioned that.
My grandson had turned 5.
And you mentioned that you were at a place where kids were running wild. Is that like Chuck E. Cheese or?
No, it was a place. They have these play companies now where you can rent a room and let your kids play in for 14 and a half minutes for $4,000.
Oh,
And
okay.
I'm being a little facetious,
Yeah,
but bottom line is my grandson turned 5, and you'll never guess what he asked for.
I'm afraid to ask, but please tell me.
He wanted one of your books.
Well, here's a kid who has a bright future as a an egghead, an intellectual of some kind. And
I,
what did he want to
I,
do with my book? Just out of curiosity, he didn't want to read it, I'm sure.
well, he wanted me to read it to him as a bed night story, a
Oh,
nighttime story. And I said, okay, here you go. Once upon a time,
bang, he
there
was
was
asleep.
bang, and he was asleep. I go, oh, thank God.
Well, that's what it does to actual adults that have to read about Medicare. I tried to make it entertaining. I tried to make it light, but I'm telling you, Medicare is a subject that will put you to sleep.
It's a tough subject to spruce up. It's really a tough subject. You do a great job, but I also wanted to let you know that I have my favorite game to play, Stump the Medicare Expert.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of it.
Well, I'm not going to do it to you today,
Oh, thank God.
but I have done some research over the weekend, and you'll never guess what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you some time to study ahead of time
All right.
because I have a list. I don't know who produced it, but I have a list of the best rated steakhouse
Ah,
in every state of the union.
no kidding.
So I'm going to say, okay, Doug, Arkansas, what's the best steakhouse in
Wow.
Arkansas? And I'm going to give you 12 and a half seconds to guess.
That's going to be a tough one. But on the other hand, it makes my mouth water just thinking about it. So
I
it's
know.
kind of a good news, bad news contest. I'll look like a fool, but I'll be writing down the list, the answers, and I'll have places to go when I get to Arkansas, for instance.
Well, you're going to guess. I know you know this one. Arizona.
All right. Well, Durant's is a favorite.
Durant's. That's the one.
Sure,
That
sure.
that's the best steakhouse in Arizona.
But there are a couple of them along Pima Road, not far from us, that are pretty good too. There's Fleming's, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there's another one too. God, what is that other one? It's on Pima.
Burger
Uh,
King.
no, that's not the one. But I don't know. It's expensive and it's tasty. That's all I remember about it. I haven't
Yeah.
been there in a
Well,
while.
well, you're in trouble when you walk in to get seated.
Yeah.
And there's a guy sitting there with an installment loan contract.
Oh, absolutely. Sign here. Initial these paragraphs, and then
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
we'll see you when you finish your meal, sir.
Yeah,
Well, the
exactly.
reason the reason I'm partial to this one too is that we happened to be there just accidentally on the night of the election, the presidential election in 2016,
Yeah.
and it went from a crowd of people just having conversation amongst themselves at their various tables to some guy shouting, "Oh my God!" He had been watching the election returns, and all of a sudden, everybody in the restaurant was included. Oh God, I can't remember the name. It's a high-end steakhouse, a very expensive steakhouse.
It's so high end that you can't remember it, right?
I always have a block when it comes to the name of this place. It's so good, though. I can go there. I can take anybody there blindfolded.
But you can't remember the name of
If
it.
you were held a gun to my head and said, "Where are you right now?" I wouldn't be able to answer the question.
Yes, I know. I know exactly what you mean. So anyway, that's my story is I'm going to provide a little bit of, warning ahead of time. You
All
already
right.
got Arizona, Durant's.
Well, what I try to do when I have a quiz like that for you is I try to also read the parameters, the measurement, the criteria for the measurement of goodness. And so I'm guessing that you will have those parameters available to read to
Yeah,
me.
well, it's a steakhouse,
Yeah, okay,
obviously.
so they serve beef. That's step
And
one.
I'm going to curate it before I give it to you. But bottom line is there's some real, and I'll give you another hint. Many of them turn out to be old school steakhouses. Now, like
Okay.
Durant's is like, the dark
Oh,
red
sure.
leather and
Yeah.
the walnut walls. And
And the mature waiters and wait staff, they're not kids.
yeah,
They've been there forever. They make it a career because they earn so much
yeah.
money.
Yeah, well, I got spanked because I was wrong at a steakhouse in Omaha one time.
Ooh.
She said they it was one of those kind of situations like you're describing. The wait staff has been there since there was steak,
Yes.
and so she brought me a big dish of blue cheese for my salad,
Uh-huh.
but I still had some blue cheese crumbles left, and I had them sitting to the side of my plate. Obviously, had used as many as I wanted on my salad, and she came back and she goes, "I can't mimic her phraseology or her accent, but she was very disappointed that someone as intelligent as I hadn't put those on my steak."
Really? I
Yeah,
might not have understood that either.
she said, "Put that on your steak. Put that." Okay, all right, I'll get right at it. You know they've been doing what they've been doing for decades because
Well, sure.
they're going to tell you what's right and what's not right.
And you'll feel compelled to follow their instructions because
Yes,
they're the ones with the
absolutely.
experience.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm guessing, even though I love these places and even though I'm a stockholder, I'm guessing that I'm not going to see any Texas roadhouses on the list.
No, no, these are an entirely different genre. Old school.
Mm.
And
One of my
Texas wrote,
favorites, whenever I can find one, is Morton's.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm sure there's one on the list someplace. I haven't memorized all 50 yet, but I do know Durant's for Arizona, and
Okay.
I do know Iowa. So that'll be your next clue.
All
Start
right.
hunting your no no I lied. Omaha. I I know one. I know which one got picked for Omaha. I
Okay,
already gave
great.
you Durant's. So now
Terrific.
you need to start researching Omaha, Nebraska's
I'll be taking notes too.
best old school steakhouse ever made, and it's very, very similar to
That's
Durant's.
fantastic. And
Dark
of course,
red leather.
now that my juices are flowing and I'm drooling on the microphone, I do want to mention the Chicago Chop House on the north side of Chicago, Chicago Chop House. I don't know if it's on the list or not, but I'm hoping.
Well,
My fingers are crossed.
I'll know here shortly because I'm going to give you Omaha next week,
All right.
and then I'll go to Illinois, and then we're going to go to the more obscure states for steaks.
Okay. All righty. I can't wait. This is going to be the best quiz ever because even if I get everyone wrong and I look like a moron, I'm going to have the list of fantastic places to eat.
Yeah, so you travel a bit.
I
You'll
do.
next time you're in Upper Slobovia,
Yep.
you'll know right where to go.
I'm guessing the steak there would taste like yak.
Well, depends on if you get the fur pulled off.
All right. Well, listen, let me forge ahead with this so we can actually,
Afford a steak.
yeah, precisely, precisely. All righty. We always start every episode with a story about Medicare Advantage as a way of warning people that Medicare Advantage is not going to be a good choice for them. It is one of these things where Medicare Advantage is widely promoted to the population of Medicare eligibles, but it turns out for some people, not everybody, but for some people, to be a very bad choice. Unpleasantness can occur, and the way the laws and regulations are set up in most states, once you're in a Medicare Advantage for a certain period of time, you're trapped like a rat, or as I say in my book, it's like a roach motel. You can check in, but you can't check out. So I've got an article here that I'm hoping will be very instructive. It is entitled, or the headline of the article is 22 Groups Back a Bill Pushing Apples to Apples Comparison for Medicare Advantage. 22 groups, most health care related, signed a letter advocating for a bill that aims for fairer comparison between Medicare Advantage and fee for service, according to a February 4th news release from AHIP, the American Health Insurance Plans, which is a big advocate, a proponent of Medicare Advantage plans. So they're not exactly neutral in this case. And when you hear the term fee for service, this is the traditional way that medical bills have been assessed and have been settled. In other words, if a medical procedure has to be performed, then there is a price to be paid for that, and that's called fee for service. The way managed care works, and make no mistake, Medicare Advantage is one of the types of managed care plans. There's a daily or a weekly or a monthly fee paid to the practitioner, whether or not you actually need any services from that practitioner. It's called it's like a per diem. It's capitation. The doctor that you pick as your primary doctor gets paid every month, let's say, under an HMO or most Medicare Advantage plans, and whether or not you see that doctor, he's going to get his pay. Now, does that mean that he's anxious to see you when you come through the door? No, it means he's less anxious to see you. He's already getting paid. Why would he want to do a bunch of work and not get any extra money? So that's one of the problems with managed care plans, as opposed to fee for service. Fee for service would be like your gas station or your automobile repair shop. When somebody has a problem, they go over to the shop, they need to have this thing fixed in their car, and they pay the cost of that repair. And then they go away until the next time that service is needed. So anyway, let me continue with this article. A couple of representatives from Florida and Oklahoma introduced the bill known as the Apples to Apples Comparison Act. They introduced it last June, but it has not passed the House. Under the bill, the Medicare Payment Advisory Commission would analyze average expenditures for Medicare Advantage enrollees and compare them to fee-for-service beneficiaries who are eligible but not enrolled in Medicare Advantage. The bill would also have MedPAC, which I believe is a government branch of the CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. The bill would have MedPAC account for out-of-pocket expenditure caps, supplemental benefits, and benefit integrations for covered Part D, as in Delta, drugs through Medicare Advantage. Demographic differences and hierarchical condition category risk scores would be other factors to consider. The need for sound, data-driven reform has never been greater. Policymakers and the public deserve reliable information to evaluate how the program is performing relative to traditional fee-for-service Medicare. Unfortunately, today's analyses rely on incomplete or inconsistent data, leading to comparisons that do not fully account for differences in eligibility, benefits, or value to beneficiaries. Signatories representing health plans include AHIP, the Blue Cross Blue Shield Association, the Special Needs Plan Alliance, I have no idea what that is, and a bunch of other organizations. It doesn't make any sense to use those old fee-for-service numbers as benchmarks or barometers or guides for setting rates or any other sort of policies, according to this ACHP president and CEO. It's a woman named CC Connolly. Referring to deeper Medicare Advantage penetration across the country, we've been urging for quite a while that you really need a fresh mathematical system when it comes to Medicare Advantage. All right, well, I don't know where this is going to wind up. That bill may go nowhere, and frankly, I don't care anything about it, because the one thing they haven't mentioned that is important to measure, as far as I'm concerned, is the freedom of choice, the satisfaction that one gets from being able to seek treatment from the provider of your choice. And that provider could be a provider that is out of network for a Medicare Advantage plan, but when you're in original Medicare, which they refer to derisively as fee-for-service, you have the freedom of going to the provider of your choice who may have specialties or skills that are more important for your particular medical situation. I'm not happy about the fact that freedom of choice is not on the top of the list of things that these people are worried about. They're only worried about whether the money is being spent properly, and well, that's important. But frankly, I don't think that if you hear about that bill being discussed, take it with a grain of salt, because I don't think it takes into account the most important aspects of your choice between Medicare Advantage and Medicare, original Medicare plus a supplement. And that is the primary important choice you're going to have to make when you enter Medicare. And you'll see that right up front in the Medicare Advantage, the Medicare enrollment guide that I've written. And also it's right up front in the first couple, I think it's in the introduction of Medicare for the Lazy Man 2026. making that choice is the single most important thing that you have to do when you enter the world of Medicare. And to make that choice in the wrong direction is possibly going to lead to unhappiness and strife as the years go by, and you might have more need for medical treatment. Let's see here. I've got a fairly thick article that I've been shuffling it around for a while. It was written at the end of March by Diane Omdahl, and she is a favorite of ours. She writes a lot of stuff about Medicare. She runs a Medicare service that includes Hey Mo, the professional computer-based drug plan selection service that we endorse here at Medicare for the Lazy Man. And she has been very proud of her not being an insurance salesperson. She comments, she has subscribers that she will share advice with about their Medicare choices, and she will advise them as to which services to select and what to do and all that for a subscription fee, but she does not sell any Medicare-related insurance. So this article is a multi-page article, everything you need to know about breast cancer and Medicare. Just noticed that my timer is staring at me. It's like a four-eyed lunatic. It doesn't say any time on it whatsoever. How much time do I have left to deal with this very lengthy article?
You have 3 minutes and 38 seconds.
Well, this would be the wrong article to use. Let me go to some other point in the stack of stuff here. Okay, here we go. I have a client who he and his wife became clients a few months ago, and the selection process was very straightforward. I showed them the least costly Medicare supplement plans that were available in their location, and then I showed them the least costly drug plans that were available in their location. I helped them sign up for each, and everything was hunky-dory. And then a month or so afterwards, I got a message from the husband, whose name is Chip. And his message is, Doug, I'm having trouble with Aetna, and Aetna is the carrier for his drug plan. Aetna is owned by CVS, and it is the drug plan is the Silver Script, one of the Silver Script plans. And he says, today I received the attached invoice stating that I owe $315 and that my prescription insurance has been canceled. I can imagine his confusion. I submit all payments through my HSA Optum account, and below is the record, the Optum record, showing that the payment was made and it cleared. $315 has cleared. I just spent 45 minutes on the phone with Aetna, which was unproductive, and they said that they have no record of the payment, as best as I could understand the service rep, meaning I think that rep might have spoken a language that was foreign to Chip. He says, I'm at a loss as to how best to deal with this. Can you please assist? Thank you. Okay, well, I wrote Chip. I did some, analysis of the copies of things that he sent me, and I wrote him a message that I'm pretty sure was not received as optimistically as he was hoping. My message said, Chip, there are two universal truths in this situation. One is that all prescription drug plans have the world's worst customer service. I'm guessing that some of them are losing money, so all of them have cut service functions to the bone and outsourced their service to foreign countries in many cases. The second universal truth here is that due to HIPAA, they will not engage in a conversation with me about your particular problems. In an effort to assist you in solving this series of errors without growing an ulcer, that leaves AI as my source for suggestions as to how we might approach this task. Those suggestions are attached. Good luck, and keep me posted as to how things are progressing. Well, I haven't heard back from him, so I'm guessing he's disgusted that I wasn't able to make a call and resolve this on his behalf. And here's what AI says about dealing with that particular plan in an effective manner. AI says the most effective way to reach a person at SilverScript prescription drug plans is with the authority to resolve a billing or payment error is to call their customer care line, and it gives the number. This is the official primary contact number for Aetna Medicare standalone prescription drug plans, including SilverScript, for issues like claims, billing, payments, coverage determinations, and grievances. Why phone escalation works best for authority level resolution. The customer service representative can often handle basic billing and payment errors, incorrect charges, denied claims, premium billing mistakes, or pharmacy reimbursements. But for complex cases or when the first rep cannot fix it, politely ask to speak to a supervisor, a billing specialist, or request an escalation to the coverage determination or grievance team. This gets you to someone with more authority quickly. Here are some practical tips for success on the call based on member experiences and service guidelines. Number 1, call at off-peak times for shorter waits. Very early, around 5 o'clock p.m. or a.m., or very late, around 11 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Avoid peak enrollment periods if possible. Reach a live person faster. Press 0 repeatedly or clearly say representative. You may need to repeat that 2 or 3 times. Number 3, prepare in advance. Have your SilverScript member ID, which usually starts with an S, on your red and white ID card. Dates of service, pharmacy details, prescription info, and any explanation of benefits or billing statements. Have that all ready. This speeds things up and shows that you're organized. Number 4, be specific. Clearly state it's a billing or payment error. Ask for a coverage determination if it involves a denied or incorrect claim. Here are some strong secondary options if the phone isn't immediate. I guess that means if the phone correction doesn't happen immediately. Secure member portal, recommended for documentation. Log in or register at caremark.com. SilverScript uses the CVS Caremark member portal for prescription drug plans. You can check claims, billing status, view payments, and send a secure message about the error. Responses typically come in 24 to 48 hours. This creates a written record and can be followed up by phone. The CVS Caremark app, same features as the portal, claim status, contact support, formal grievance in writing for persistent issues or paper trail, mail to, and it gives the mailing address for SilverScript or the exact address on your EOB or plan materials. This has more formal weight under Medicare rules and often triggers a higher level review. If it's still not resolved, escalate to Medicare directly via Medicare.gov. File a complaint or a grievance, or call this number, and it gives a telephone number. Plans must respond to Medicare complaints. And note, direct email is not available when you're dealing with Medicare due to HIPAA rules. Use the portal or the telephone. And then finally, it says this is important. SilverScript numbers can vary slightly for employer or group plans. But for standard individual SilverScript, this is and it shows a telephone number. This is the confirmed telephone line. Always use the number on your specific ID card if it differs. Have your plan documents handy, as billing errors are often resolved the same day or within a few business days once escalated. This approach, starting with the 24/7 phone line and escalating consistently, gets members to the right person with decision-making authority faster than mail or online. Good luck resolving your issue. Well, I sent that to Chip. He hasn't responded. I'm hoping that he used it and had good success. I haven't heard back, so I don't know if that's good news or not. In any event, the good news for Randy is that I'm about done here, and you can take over your closing duties if you like.
All right. Well, everybody, as I always say, everybody grab your pencil because you're going to need it. This is a really important email address.
Should you lick your pencil before you write?
Yeah. Now, why did people do that? Why
I
was
don't know.
that?
It was almost universal back in the olden days.
Yeah, I really don't understand why people lick their pencil. I'll have to look that up.
Please do. I'd
We'll
like a
use
full
that
report.
as yeah, I'll get a full report. And it's going to be funny because I'm going to ask AI about why we licked pencils back 700 years ago.
I hope it's shorter than the answer I just read.
All right, here we go. Are you ready?
Yeah.
DBJ at mlmmailbag.com. You can use that email address to reach out to Doug any time of the day or night. He never sleeps. Part two of this is he is licensed, always has been nationwide to help you with your Medicare supplement planning. MedicareForTheLazyMan.com. That's where it's all happening on the web. We would appreciate it if you'd drop some reviews for us. Doug works really hard on the content, and we would need to stay ahead of the travelogue people. I'm not going to tell you why, but it's a need. It's a desire. We want to keep doing it. Last but certainly not least, thank you for joining us today. You could have been anywhere else, doing anything else with anybody else, but you weren't. You were with us listening to Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast, but nobody ever tracks the time. Why is that, Doug?
It's because they don't set their timers like me.
I know. You have just spent about 32 and a half minutes with Doug Jones, the anti-insurance guy, originally from Oklahoma. No more. He's living behind Cave Creek, Arizona, in the Nosebleed Mountains, home of the Nosebleed Indians. And I always check his altitude before we do this every day. And I say, I look today, and he's got his private license now on a SPAD. I'm not sure how high a SPAD can go, but Doug goes really high a lot of the time. 12,500 feet.
Well, Randy checks my altitude, but he rarely checks my attitude. My attitude is always that this is a wonderful experience for both of us to share with our listeners. So we're hoping that you will come back and join us for the next episode of the Medicare for the Lazy Man podcast. It'll be coming up very soon, and we'll be hoping to have you with us for that recording. So until then, bye-bye.